Okay, guys, welcome to this very short training where I'm just going to go over how you can actually create more time and lose weight in the same process. Without doing anything extra, you're actually going to save yourself time and simultaneously lose weight with just a few, literally just a few simple tweaks and changes into your lifestyle, into your day-to-day routines. These are some of the changes that I've used with clients, and they are highly, highly effective and are not burdensome. So let's dive in. First of all, what does this solve? This solves diet organization and prioritization. It will not solve things like stress eating, eating when you're over happy, eating when basically emotional eating. And it won't solve liquid calories. If you find yourself drinking a lot of colas, if you find yourself um, drinking a lot of alcohol, then this won't solve that. However, if you do those things, but you also find yourself eating on the grab and go, just eating generally rubbish food, very inconsistent at the times that you do eat, that is what this will help with. So stick around if that is the case for yourself. So first off, the first thing I will recommend is it's very simple. Do less. Do less. And the simplest way that I can put that to you is think about your meals throughout the day. If you just, if you just have two meals instead of three. So if you have breakfast currently and lunch currently and dinner currently, then how can you reduce that? Because essentially, if you think about each meal taking up about half an hour in the day, give or take, however you decide to have lunch, depending on whether you're with clients, depending on whether you're having it at your desk or not. Let's just say it takes half an hour per meal. If you just get rid of one of those meals, breakfast would be generally the best one, also known as intermittent fasting, then you actually save yourself half an hour out of the day. You also reduce the need to decide on what you're going to eat and the the um, the chances that you're just going to eat something fast and probably crap like toast on the grab and go. So by actually just taking out one of the meals, you've actually improved the quality, or improved, should I say, your ability to eat better across the day because you've only got to focus on two meals, getting two meals right. So it reduces the decision fatigue of having to get three meals right to only having to get two meals right. With those two meals, you can actually have fairer portions as well. Now, obviously, you don't want to have too big a portions and overdo it, but you can have fairer portions. The other bonus that you get with this, in fact, two bonuses, is you'll have more energy in the morning, you'll feel more energized naturally. And once you're used to it, once your body's adjusted to an intermittent fast regime after a week or two, and you're no longer feeling hungry in the morning, you can just crack on with work. You'll have that energy, but also when you do want to enjoy breakfast, let's say the weekend with the kids, and you want to have pancakes with them or waffles, you'll actually feel naturally less hungry, meaning you'll naturally eat less calories at breakfast when you do decide to have it. And that's the way I recommend you approach this. Not an all or nothing. If you're going to do intermittent fasting, allow yourself sometimes to have breakfast with the kids or just occasionally when you're on holiday or whatever. Don't be all or nothing. Be flexible. Next, use what you have. Do exactly what I'm doing right now. Stand on some of your work meetings. Try and stand more. Try and walk more with the time that you already have. There really isn't much of an excuse if you're doing work meetings, if you're working behind a desk at all, not just on calls, you can stand at your desk as well. You do not need to be sat down. So utilize the time that you have just differently. It's not about, again, let me reiterate, this exactly what I'm going over here with all of these different hacks. None of this is about using more time, putting more things into your calendar. It's utilizing the time you have differently so that you can get more out of your time. So instead of being sat at your desk, try to stand more at your desk. Buy a laptop riser, buy a desk that rises. It will be worth the investment. Otherwise, you're just going to be sat and sedentary and feeling shit and low on energy and not very creative and focused. Whereas when you're stood, you're naturally more fluid. Your brain ticks along more fluidly and you have more energy and more creativity, which means you're actually more productive in your work. So not only are you more active, you're actually also more creative and more productive in your work. Some calls don't even require you to be behind a desk or a computer or a screen. You can literally just tell whoever you're due to have a call with that you are going to go for a walk while you do that. And many clients that I've had in the past have found this to be beneficial. They found it really beneficial and not had any problems with it. Nobody's going to tell you that you can't go for a walk and you can't look after your health if you work 60, 70 hours a week. They're going to respect your time. They're going to respect you more if you tell them, I need to go for a walk while I do this call to get outside and look after myself. They're not going to tell you can't do that. So action to do that is buy a laptop riser. I got mine off Amazon, £40, $50, or buy a desk if you want to go a little bit more fancy. Some of my clients have also done that. Next, outsource your things like your meals. Outsource things like your meals if you can. Remember, if you're doing the intermittent fasting, you've only got to focus on 2 meals. Presumably dinner time for most people, that is sorted because there's usually 2 of you in the household, often is the case, which means that your partner often might have dinner already prepared for when you're back home or when you're out of the office and ready to eat. Which means then you've only got to figure out 1 meal, lunchtime. In that case, you've got 3 options. Number 1, outsource to a meal prep company. Number 2, outsource your dinner times to a meal box company, which means that usually there's actually leftovers because they usually provide a fair amount, a fair portion, which means you can use the leftovers from dinner for lunch the next day or 2 or 3 days. It just makes time so much easier. It just makes it so much more fluid and less arduous to prepare your meals. Remember, you've already got rid of 1 meal by intermittent fasting. Presumably dinner is already sorted, and it can be even quicker if you use a meal box company. So if you just use a meal prep company, or you use the leftovers from dinner and the meal box company, then that means lunch is already sorted too. And if you're using meal box company, it will also be much more nutritious than if you or your partner are just cooking off the whim and it's not particularly the healthiest. This will reduce grab and go, which I'll come on into a second. The only action for this is look at meal boxes, look at meal prep companies. Some examples there are All Plants and Lion Prep. They are meal prep companies. So that means all you have to do is heat up the food and it's ready to eat. HelloFresh and Gusto are meal box companies, which means they send you a recipe card, they send you all of the ingredients fresh, and you can cook them according to the recipe and have healthy, nutritious food ready in a jiffy. Okay, grab and go. As I said a moment ago, this is actually something you can use to your advantage. Grab and go isn't a negative thing if you know how to use it. if you have a strategy. One of the easiest strategies that my clients find useful and I've found useful in the past is just using something like a shake. Dual are a great option for this. They're readily available in the UK and in the Western countries like the US and Canada and the Middle East. They're available in airports, they're available in your more popular and common shops like WH Smith's, etc. You'll get a decent amount of calories, a lunchtime portion size amount of calories in most cases, and a decent amount of protein, which is really important to help you stay fuller for longer and more satisfied, so that you're not going to want to eat more sooner and after eating. So use them by having them stashed in your car. If you're traveling a lot, if you're constantly commuting to different cities and different places and different clients, or have them stashed in your drawer, in your office drawer, either at work or even in the house, just so it's there ready to go. All you've then got to do is mix it with powder. So easy, so convenient. Reduces decision fatigue. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to get something in a rush. You just grab it, make it, drink it, get on with your day. Okay, and I believe this is the last one. More energy equals more time. If you can have more energy, be more switched on, more productive, more creative, you will find that you will have more time because you're doing things quicker. Instead of doing 5 actions per minute, let's say, you can do 10 actions per minute. You can actually get more done within the time that you have. You can actually get more out of your time. Instead of it taking 7 hours to get something done, it can take you maybe 5 or 6 hours to get something done. You can get more out of your day. You can have time spare at the end of the day, or you can get more done and get ahead of your schedule. The best way to do this is with quick bursts of intense exercise in the morning if you're tight on time, and that really is just like 15 minutes. You don't need long to do this. You just need to do intense exercise, get your heart rate up, get your energy levels up, get your juices flowing, get your blood flowing. And if you do that, and even if you've had a shit night's sleep, this beats taking caffeine to try and wake yourself up. That isn't an opinion, that is fact, because caffeine basically, the way that it works physiologically, it doesn't actually boost motivation in most cases. In fact, it doesn't. What it actually does, it just blocks certain receptors in the brain that really make you feel motivated by blocking out maybe more negative, the receptors and the pathways that are associated with more negative feelings. So it helps you to feel more motivated, more energized, but only by blocking out certain things. And that's only effective in the short term, in the very short term. You'll notice this. You have a caffeine crash after so many hours, usually 2 or 3 hours, you'll have a caffeine crash. Maybe in the middle of the day, maybe in the very early afternoon, maybe even the late morning. But when you do intense exercise, you'll actually have a more sustained, more productive day because your energy levels and your focus stays at a certain level for a certain period of time across the entirety of the day, as opposed to just having a quick boost of motivation and energy from caffeine and then crashing a couple of hours later. Again, action, 15 minutes of intense exercise first thing in the morning. That's all you got to do. Get up 15 minutes earlier, get it done, and you'll find you do have a lot more time. You'll have a lot more energy, and your output will lift significantly. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. If you've got any questions, obviously ping me a message on LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever you've got me. And if you want to talk about potentially coaching, or you're struggling with something that you think I can help with in terms of health, lifestyle, performance, losing weight, building your mental strength, you can do one of two things. You can drop me a message, or you can use the link in the comment section of